Well, I did, but they were all gone by then.
We've started the fence work. We finally got our dirt work done. So now we have a blank canvas for beginning.
Us.
Lock the doors.
You should have waited one. It is 5:30 p.m. and I now call to order the Grand Island Public Schools Board of Education meeting. This is December 25th, 2023 meeting. Notice of this meeting has been advertised in the Grand Island Independent, which is the district's designated method of giving notice of these meetings. We want those in attendance to know that copies of the Open Meetings Act are available at the entrance to the boardroom. If anyone in attendance is interested in addressing our board, you are welcome to do so. We simply request that you complete the appropriate form and turn it into us so that you may be recognized during the request to address the board part of our meeting. If you have not already completed the form, please see the staff person outside the entrance to this room. Public comment is welcome. We do ask that no signs be brought into the boardroom. Mrs. Dibbert, would you please call the roll?
Mr. McFarland.
Present.
Mr. Helinski.
Here.
Mr. Garcia Mendez.
Present.
Mr. Hawley.
Here.
Mrs. Wilson. Present. Mrs. Albers. Here. Mr. Sykes.
Here.
Mrs. Durgans. Present. Ms. Maudlin has given prior notice that she's going to be absent, and the board has accepted her absence.
Request to address the board, and we have none at this time. Okay. Item number 4, approval of the Grand Island Public Schools fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. Mr. Harden.
Well, a quick recap of our activities here this month in September. We had our budget workshop and hearing on the 14th. A week ago this evening, we participated in the joint public hearing, which is required because of our levy being over the maximum amount calculated by the state. And so then this evening's meeting is the last two steps, which is to approve the budget and then adopt a resolution actually setting the levy for the next school year. So the document that's on the screen now is what was published. And since what we're going to ask you to adopt is different, I'm going to switch over to another document here. And really the important stuff is kind of, so the first part here, as you can see at the top, says as published. So that's just that page that was just up. And so everything below the red line that you see here is then what we're asking you to adopt. And so really, I think the thing, if I were a board member, is, well, what's the difference? And so that's everything below the green line. So that's what I want to point out to you. So since we published the budget notice and had the hearing, we decided to make adjustments to go ahead and reduce the general fund levy, an additional, 9 cents in total. And so that's reflected there. We needed to adjust the bond fund to make sure our expenditures that were budgeted were at least 50% of the reserve, and that's a state statute that's required. And when we first proposed it, it just wasn't done right, so we adjusted it so it would be. And then the special building fund, we actually moved 2 cents additional levy to that. And so those dollar amounts that you see there represent those changes. The good news is the total changes in the ask for the taxpayer are down 3.2 million from what we originally published. So that's a 7-cent net decrease in our tax asking from what we originally proposed and what the budget was originally published as. So with that, I would conclude my comments with all the activities that we've done. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any.
Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Harden. So at this point, I would accept a motion to approve the Grand Island Public Schools fiscal year 2023-2024 budget.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Grand Island Public Schools 2023-2024 fiscal budget.
Second by Ms. Albers. Discussion. Seeing none, we may proceed to a vote to approve the Grand Island Public Schools fiscal year 2023-24 budget. Motion passes. Item number 5, approval of Hall County School District 2, aka Grand Island Public Schools levy resolution for fiscal year 2023-2024. Mr. Harden.
And so the document that's coming up on your screen now is the resolution that is attached, and I slightly modified from what was there recently. Past practice has been to always separate the bond fund. There's 2 different levies based on the actual date that the bond referendum was done and the debt that's behind that. So there's bond fourth and the bond fifth have been separated out. So you can see those totals and then the total levy for the bond fund and then the total dollar request for all taxing. So just to remind you that there's a levy on the general fund, the bond fund, the special building fund, and the qualified capital purpose undertaking fund. So that is what the budget that was just approved is based on. There's some statutorily required items there that are listed out. You all know by now that the increase in valuation was 15.7%, so that's listed. You can see the difference between what we're asking for and what would have been if we had just asked for the same dollar amount as last year. And then overall, our budget for all funds, not just the 4 taxing funds, is going down by 20.5% increase or percent decrease. So that's mainly because of the special building fund. We had quite a bit of money in there when they were building the Memorial Stadium. That project's totally done, and we're just walking our way down from where it was at 20 million down 10 million. So a lot of that decrease is kind of a mathematical issue kind of thing, more than a decrease in any planned spending. So, other than having to submit this once you approve it to the county clerk, this is the final step in adopting the documents and procedures that are necessary for 2023, 2024. So with that, I'll conclude my comments.
Any questions for Mr. Harden? Seeing none, at this time I would entertain a motion to approve the Hall County School District 2, aka Grand Island Public Schools levy resolution for fiscal year 2023-24.
I'd like to make a motion of approval of the Hall County School District number 2, aka Grand Island Public Schools levy, correction by the fiscal year of the 2023-2024.
Second by Mr. Hawley. Discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote for the approval of such. Motion passes. Item number 6, notification of upcoming board meetings. Regular Board of Education meeting will be Thursday, October 12th, 2023. At this moment, I consider the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you being here.